Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Neo4j online meetup. I think this is number 58. We've got, again, no Karine today, so it's just me. My name's Mark Needham. In case you haven't joined any of these before, I work in the Neo4j developer relations team in London. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. You'll want to set your resolution to 720p or higher. So that's a little control you can adjust in the bottom right-hand side of the window. So sort of down here. There's a live chat on the right-hand side of the window. If you have any questions there, I am monitoring that, and I will pass any questions that you write on there onto our speakers. And so, who are our speakers? Well, we've got 3 days until the season 8 of Game of Thrones. So we thought, let's have another Game of Thrones episode. And so we've got Sony and we've got Wei with us today to show us how we can visualize Game of Thrones data with GraphXR. So I guess I'll let them introduce themselves to you. So I guess Sony, we can maybe start with you.
Sure. Hi, everyone. So my name is Sony Green, and I'm Director of Business Development at Kinoviz. We make GraphXR, which is our data visualization, data analytics platform, and which we will be demonstrating to you during the course of this presentation. And I'm here with our CEO, Wei Yang.
Hi, everyone. This is Wei, and I'm CEO of Kinoviz. I used to be a physicist, and so working with the data has been my passion. Really wonderful to share our research and with you guys. Looking forward to it. Yeah.
Cool. So Sonia, are you gonna start by presenting? Is that the plan?
Is Sony still?
I think Sony is frozen at the moment.
Is it? Right in the moment. Yeah. Well, Sony, are you there?
Oh, not at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, be back again. Oh, can we start with you then, Wei, while Sony
Right.
figures out? Do you have something you want to present? Shall I?
Yeah. So let me see. Let me see if we can get Sony online, because I want to make sure if you want me to present his part. Let me talk about my part first. And hi everyone. Am I on the screen now? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So well, Game of Thrones seems to be a sensation, but I've been lately just like introduced to it and started watching. I watched a few episodes. It's really fantastic stories. It's quite fun. So we have been thinking about a way of visualizing the Game of Thrones data. The TV episodes has a lot of things happens. I guess you guys are more familiar with the story than I am. So we've been like, I know, Mark, you have done a few study of using Game of Thrones data, right?
Yeah, I think we've done maybe 2 meetups before. I think we did one. I guess I'm trying to remember when the last season was. It feels like it's been ages, but I guess it was season 7. I think we did one where a bunch of different people were showing analysis you could do on it, and then I guess must have been about a month ago or so. We showed how to analyze the data using the graph algorithms playground.
Right.
So yeah, people are a little bit familiar with the data set if they've attended before.
That's awesome. So we've been looking. We look online. We found another data sets curated by Geoffrey Lancaster. I know Sony was about planning showing the GitHub. Let me see if I can find that GitHub. It's GitHub and Game of Thrones. Yeah, there we go. So we
do you want to present that on the screen, or
that's right? That's good idea. Let's see. Can you see my screen now?
Yep. There we go.
Yeah. There we go. So if you guys are interested, you can go to this website and from Geoffrey Lancaster. In fact, if you Google Game of Thrones GitHub, you're probably gonna hit this website. And so we actually chat with Geoffrey and get some insight about how he curated the data. So he actually went through a lot of effort in curating this data set and cleaning the data, and I really, if I can, I want to give a large round of applause to him. This is fantastic, rich information. So in this data set, he actually went through scene by scene and captured, and for each episode, there are about 30 scenes of what happened in that things. There's something I still cannot understand, like some sort of weapon being used or both being forged, but also whether there's a battle, there's like a killing scene, like somebody gets killed, or there's a marriage, there's a sex, there's some other things. So it's really a very rich data set. And he had everything organized as a JSON file format, and we were able to. I think we can demonstrate a couple way of getting the data into Neo4j through GraphXR. Hey, Sonny, you're back?
Am I back in? Sorry about
Yeah, you're
that.
back in now. Okay, you want to continue?
Yeah. Let me see
Okay.
if I can share my screen successfully this time. And are you seeing my screen now?
Yeah, well, I'm seeing myself disappearing.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Yeah. So as Wei was saying, just big thanks to Geoffrey Lancaster for this data set which he hand compiled, and the particular data that we were looking at was this characters JSON, which is including the character name, the actor name, and all sorts of information about them. Actually, we converted it from JSON into CSV. So what I wanted to start out with was actually in Neo4j. I wanted to show you basically a workflow to get the data into Neo4j through GraphXR. So I'm just going to start out creating a new project, creating a new graph locally, Graph of Thrones, give it a super secure password.
And so just while you're doing that, this is the Neo4j desktop. If you haven't seen it before, so this is, if you go neo4j.com/download, you can grab it from there.
Yes, thanks. And so to add GraphXR as a graph app, you would just type in graphxr.kinoviz.com down here in the install graph application. I'm actually going to be showing you some functionality that's coming up in our next release. So this will be sort of a sneak preview. Yes, we trust ourselves. Perhaps we shouldn't. But, so adding GraphXR here, and now I'm going to start up my database. Take me a second, and when it starts up, you'll notice, of course, I have 0 nodes and 0 edges in it. So now I'm going to open up GraphXR, and so if you haven't seen it before, this is the GraphXR interface. So now I've got these CSV from Geoffrey's data set. I'm just going to drag it in here and drop it. And already you'll see that I have the character portraits in here because Geoffrey included links to images of each character. So I can see all of our favorite and not so favorite characters. So, okay, great. Now we have a bunch of nodes, but looking at the the data here, we have a lot of potential connection information. For instance, the house affiliation is one that's a good place to start. So I'm going to go to our graph connector and operations, and I'm going to select these nodes I just imported. I'm going to create a house node. Relationship belongs to. And I'll select house name as the property, and it's a key property, so I'll just click that. And now you'll see that the characters have been split up into their respective houses. So, like here, I've got House Martell. So I've got dearly departed Oberyn here, and his daughters. And then a bunch of folks who are unaffiliated are all connected over here. So now this is creating one type of relationship from the data through creating a new node. I can also create links directly within these through the link tab. So I'm going to again select my characters, and the one of the properties is who killed who. So I'll just say killed by, run that. And so now I've generated edges showing, so here's Khal Drogo killing, I can't remember Daenerys' brother's name right now, but I can very well remember, the scene in which he had gold poured over his head. Apologies, by the way, for any spoilers. I'm assuming everyone is at least somewhat caught up. So now that's a way to quickly start building out relationships inside of GraphXR. So another data set that I grabbed, I just pulled some videos off YouTube of the Night King, and I'm going to take these, and again the character import, use my link tab again, and so linking between two different data sources here. I've got the character name, and then the character in this case is the Night King, and so these are YouTube videos he appears in. Oh wait, did I do that? Seem to have missed something. There we go. So here we've got our dear friend the Night King, and then within each of these nodes, you'll see I have a link for the video, so I can actually start playing that video inside of GraphXR, bandwidth permitting. Hopefully I'm not going to disconnect myself from the video chat here. Oh, it's not a very interesting video. Let's pick another one. And so I can actually have multiple videos up at the same time, not playing, but as thumbnails. So yeah, that's one way for exploring this kind of rich media content. So, okay, now I've pulled in all these different data sources. I want to take it back to Neo4j. Close out this exciting dragons attacking the White Walkers here. So within GraphXR, I actually have a save to Neo4j capability. Takes a little while, but I'll just do it here. And Neo4j desktop. So while we're watching this, I don't know. I actually have no theories on how the series is going to end. I feel like at this point, it could be anyone's game. I'm very curious to see other people's theories. I know that some folks have done some data-driven approaches to who's going to end up on the Iron Throne, and Tyrion is apparently the popular leader for that. That would be kind of cool. We'll see if that actually happens. But okay, so the save to Neo4j finished. Still see 0 nodes and 0 labels, but now when I stop, and now it's telling me the database is inactive, but you see the nodes and relationships have been added to the database. So this is a great way for quickly bringing data in from CSVs and from other sources, modeling it inside of GraphXR, and then bringing it, saving it back to Neo4j and being able to do all sorts of operations on it once it's in Neo4j. Now, if you're trying to connect up, a large enterprise data store, anything where you have mission critical data, you're going to want a more robust solution for that. We've actually partnered with FactGem. I don't know if everyone's acquainted with FactGem, but they have an enterprise-focused schema management solution, and so that's the best way to connect really large enterprise data sets for this kind of analysis. But for doing exploratory analysis, you can really get pretty far just within GraphXR. So I think that's about all I had to show. Wei, do you want to take over the screen?
Yeah. Okay, let me share my screen. Okay, screen share. Okay, can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. So the same data set that Geoffrey Lancaster put together has, like I described earlier, has a lot of detail of what happened in each scene. It also has a map of the fictional world. Let's see, where we can pull that in. So what I'm showing you now is a feature under development in GraphXR, where we allow us to write some like external code to extension to the GraphXR. So through the extension, I bring in this map of is that lands of ice and fire?
Westeros.
Westeros is right. This is Westeros.
Westeros and Essos.
This is Essos. Right. So and all the dots are the cities in the map with the fictional latitude and longitude. So which means if we have an event with a long location, that we can really just show those event on the fictional map. So what I'm showing here is really a lot of it, just like a potential of it, and if somebody is interested in play with the data set that we have converted, injected into Neo4j, please let us know. We'll be gladly give you access to the data set and see what you can do with it. So we took the data set, and it's a many set of JSON data files, and we use Neo4j to pull into the graph and then inject into the Neo4j database. So for the rest of the demo, I'm just gonna start go straight pull the data from the database. So not having really seen the whole show, but I just look at the data. What caught my attention is there's many people died, and there's many things happened, and of course there's dragon too. So we did a quick research. We found out there's 214 killing scenes throughout the whole show. So we can pull the like a hook. Let's see. Let's see if I have a killing scene. Oh, let's see. Let me show you guys how to pull the data in from just when we're doing that. So there's a death is a scene in the episodes. So we can use this button to pull. You keep on clicking. It's a keep on pulling. So let's say there are total of 214 death scene happened in the whole show. Now let's select them all. Let's expand them. So if I active this link, it's gonna show me the scene that including this this act. If I just include this one, it show me the people, the characters that involved in the scene. So let's click it. Let me so bump up the limit a little bit so I can pull in. So there's a total of 251 characters involved that killed and be killed. So that's exciting. Now let's see. Let me make the force layout optimized a little bit, so make it a little bit easier to see. So one thing I like to do is, what you see here is everything is in 3D. So the GraphXR supports VR, like what the Sony just showed you with several videos. It looks cool on the computer screen, but in the VR, it's really trippy. So when you see several videos playing around you, like hearing all the sound and looking at the views, it's very trippy. If you can, I know setting up web VR is still a struggle for many situations, but if you can set up the web VR and try it out in VR, it's worth it. So now my favorite mode is a pseudo 3D mode, working with data on the computer screen. So rather have everything showing up as a rotating globe, I'm gonna bump up the 3D to 2D, like make it a little bit more 2D like. So now what you see is a disk. There's quite some advantage of showing data as a disk. So it allows you the separation of the nodes because it has a third dimension freedom. But it also can allow you to lay out the nodes in a way that's intuitive for us when we look at information in the 2D space. And so I want to bring the same nodes in a little bit better. And there you go. Now you can see there's a cluster of actions happen in the throughout the whole show. And so now what I want to do, so now I have all the death things involved with the characters. So I want to do what the let's see, and what the did I include this scene? Let me get rid of scene. There you go. So keep things simple a little bit. So what I want to do actually we have all the scene. Let's look at the data. That's like the death. So Geoffrey Lancaster actually has the data of exactly which season, which episode, up to which scene does the event happened. So with that, we can use our parametric plot to show how everything layout. So now we can, so you can see like here, let's say I want the episode as x-axis. So it's a 3D layout. So, but right now we want to see the 2D representation because we are on the 2D screen. So I will just fix X and Z both as season. Use episode as Y. And did I? That's okay. That's not what I wanted. So did I do something? Well, that's okay. Let's see. Y is episodes. And X, Z. Oh, sorry. X, Z should be season. There we go. There you go. That's more natural. So you see here that all the nodes on the 000, that's because the characters does not have season and scene information. Now we can relax that. I'm cheating a little bit, so it's a hidden feature that I can relax the actors. So now the actors are lining up against the that scene. That so we can, so that allow us to visualize at the which time in the story which actor is involved in which action. And so on the horizontal you see the season, vertical is the episodes. Now let's let go of this. Let me get back to it. Now we can also see how two things are related. And let me reset force layout a little bit. And so for example, like I have this one add character. Let me select the second character. Now we can see how those two characters connected. So this is called trace neighbor function. You can see the first degree, second degree, and third degree, and everything. Or in this case, there are too many steps in the middle. We can use tree layout to see how information layout as a tree structure. So I'm more looking into this as a data analyst perspective. I still need to catch up with the whole show to be able to understand better of the story parts, and this is what I can see as a interesting connections and interesting statistics of the show. So now that we have this, we want to do like sometime like it's good to see the death as an event in the graph, character as elements associated with the event, but so often I want to just see directly the connection between characters. So I select them all, go to shortcut, and I choose death as the center character, and then two relationships at the wing connector. So and the relationship may be execute or be killed and run. So this gives me a view of just the character relationship based on whether they killed each other. I know it's horrible relationship, but from the statistical perspective, that's interesting view. Now we can get rid of death now. So that's quite interesting. You see cluster of chain of events that people connected through this horrible relationship. And now we can show a tree layout based on the two characters in the extreme. Oh, they're actually not related. Apologize for that. But you see where I'm going. So this is a way of visualizing the information. This cluster is really interesting. The people seems like killing each other in this cluster. So there are 214 I call it violent act in the event. But let's remove that. But there's also, we found out is, let's see. So there's a 55 depiction of explicit sex scenes in the event as well, and you can, let's see, you can kind of map out. You can do the same same kind of exercise. You can see. Well, actually, let me first thing I want to just do the same. Let's look at the distribution based on the season and based on the season distribution, and maybe I will want to show what's the association with the actors and the characters and in the scene. And so this is what just like a quick introduction of what's possible with like visually looking at the graph, be able to dynamically generate new relationship or new nodes and be able to bring in multiple data sets and link them together and store them back into Neo4j for later later analysis. And we can also use GraphXR, so I call it visual storytelling. And so I'm not gonna go into detail about how to do it. I just probably just gonna show you a couple examples of visual storytelling. Now, let's see. So this is the journey of Jon Snow. Apparently, Jon Snow is this famous person in the whole show that appears in every episode. So on the x-axis, like going further away, is all the episodes in the whole show, and actually all this detailed scene in the episodes with by the precision of the minutes. And this center node is Jon Snow, that he's connected with all those scenes. The other nodes are the other people also associated with that scene that people associate with Jon Snow. Now, we can do some sort of animation. So by the way, this is really just for inspiration purpose. We just, and everything is, all the actions, animation you see is data driven, and when the nodes start to flying around, it's really there's some cipher queries that triggers the data change and cause the visual change. So you can see it goes through scene by scene. The data is just one episode in one season, and it show you all the characters associated with that particular scene. So I'm not gonna finish this. I'm just gonna fast forward, and the end of the season, the end of the episodes, that we're approaching the end of episodes now. Yeah, that big scary character shows up in the very end of the episodes. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you. Let's see. And let me bring the Khal graph back. So, Mark, you have demonstrated all the graph algorithms applied to Neo4j data. So yeah, so here I'm just pull the all the who killed who charts and use Neo4j graph algorithm to calculate centrality, page rank, and eigenvector centrality. So I
So
think there's yeah.
you run those? Can you run those algorithms from GraphXR, or did you just do those directly in the Neo4j browser or something?
You can run the algorithm from GraphXR, but I like in the Neo4j browser where it has like completes of your, like when you type, it completes your typing. So I found that to be much more helpful, and with the suggestion of what needs to go into in the parameter in GraphXR, you kind of have to know what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. So looking at the data, I have a page rank and I have a centrality. Centrality is actually between the centrality. It's meaning if you remove that nodes, whether the graph is going to fall apart. Eigenvector, Mark, I think eigenvector and the page rank are similar, right?
Yeah, they're pretty similar. They're both kind of based on the idea that I mean, in the one that we did in the other meetup, it was people who interact with important people. And here, I guess it would be people who are killing important people.
Right.
Yeah, there's just a slight difference in the way that they distribute their score around a graph.
Yeah. So we can take advantage of the parametric 3D parametric plot and look at in this case I put x centrality as x, this between the centrality, eigenvector as y, and page rank as z. You can do that on the top by select them, but here I just lazy, just apply. Did I break something? Sometime the okay, let me yeah, let me restart it. I think we hit a bug here. So let me bring the data. Where is my data?
While you're doing that, maybe I can ask some questions to you or Tony from the chat. So one of the questions is kind of going back to the VR feature that you mentioned. And the question is, does it work with Oculus Go, or like which VR technologies does that work with?
Right. So we officially, we always do our testing on Oculus Rift. And we also do testing on HTC Vive. And Oculus Go is a little bit not enough juice for this kind of application.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I know Oculus Quest is coming out. I'm really curious to see if Oculus Quest will be fast enough to handle this. So, yeah. Any other questions?
No, there's just been Geoffrey has been sharing one of the visualizations you were showing, and people were just asking how can they install GraphXR to try it out themselves.
Sonny, you want to answer that question?
Yes. So you can sign up for GraphXR for free by going to graphxr.kinoviz.com. And GraphXR actually runs in browser, so there's nothing to install. What you saw before where I was doing it as a graph app, you just need to go through that process of adding it in the graph app installation section within Neo4j desktop. But but either way, you'll need to create an account at graphxr.kinoviz.com.
Yeah. So it's pretty straightforward, self-servicing. You just visit that link that Sony talked about and sign up a free account. You do need to provide a valid email address because it's going to send the validation through email and before you can log in.
Yeah, and it is worth pointing out again some of the features that we've been demoing, like the creating shortcut edges or creating yielding new nodes. Some of that is not in the public release version yet. So a lot of this stuff is like the parametric layout, tree view, but just a heads up that some of that will be coming on probably in June.
Yeah. So here's the 3 centrality layout in the 3-dimensional space. The one thing jumps out is, by the way, this is the centrality in the graph that created by who killed who, and it's Jon Snow really jumps out as by far the highest centrality among all 3 centralities. You can also see there's a low between the centrality, but pretty high on the other axis. So in some of the other line of forensic analysis, usually that's a hint of some entities being you need to pay some special attention. So that's why we always look for the mismatch of the centralities. Like this one person is really high on one axis, but very low on the other 2. So I think that's all I want to share with everybody. And Mark, do you want to go? Yep.
Got another question for you. So this one's a bit longer. So, someone's been, Menome Technologies been having some fun with GraphXR for doing geology borehole plots. I was wondering if it's possible to have the map view show nodes and relationships below the surface with a transparent map.
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Okay, we can always take that one afterwards. I guess it's maybe a little bit more specific than what you've been showing today.
I think if I understand correctly, the question is, could you show some sort of geological features underneath the map?
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the underground features?
Yeah, exactly.
In short, yes. In long, like it's not a official supported feature. It's everything is in the 3D scene, just like you see before. I just pulled the Earth of land of ice and fire in GraphXR. We can pull a 3D object, or the 3D mapping data that can result in the 3D object can be rendered in this 3D scene. So in fact, what we actually had if your data has a 3D objects, we haven't done that for a while, but we actually implemented that each node become a 3D object. So essentially, we can just create we can assign one node as a large object underneath the map. Just hope that answered the question.
Cool. Yeah, I think it's about 30 seconds behind where we are, but so we'll know in a little bit. I guess we're sort of coming close to wrapping up. So if you liked the presentation, don't forget to like it on YouTube so other people can find it. If you have any questions for Wei or Sony and you're watching this after the live stream, I've posted a link on the chat for the community site, so you can ask any questions on there. We've also included links to some of the other things that have been talked about, such as the GraphApps installer, Wei also mentioned graph algorithms, so we've put a link to the O'Reilly graph algorithms book, which is coming out next week. So you can register to get a free copy of that. And then I think I put a link for installing GraphXR right at the top as well. Cool. Well, I guess we're probably done for now. So thanks to Wei and Sonia for spending the time. And I guess everybody, I hope we haven't ruined Game of Thrones for you too much. And let's see what happens starting from Sunday.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks for having
everyone.
us.
Awesome.
Right. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.